Do you think BOJ is going to play along?
Well, we do have to hear now from Governor Kuroda. We've got the policy decision. We've been talking about it just for the literally the last few minutes, maintaining their key short-term rate, the policy balance rate at minus 0.1%, keeping their 10-year JGB yield target at about 0%. And in fact, the board voted specifically to maintain yield curve control. That's, again, no surprise. That stays in place. Interesting that the BOJ kept its economic outlook. It's overall economic outlook pretty much as it had it, but very important that they note that consumption has improved. Consumption has increased resilient, raising their assessment then of consumer spending. They also noted that improving employment and then again, more paychecks, more rising income is what's helping to drive consumer spending. In fact, rather upbeat on the economy, saying it's likely to continue a moderate expansion. GDP, of course, has risen for 5 quarters in a row now, and yes, inflation is far from target. Can we just call up a Bloomberg chart here, hashtag BTV7942, to take a look at one of the key metrics that the Bank of Japan is trying to boost with all of this. The key rate at the short end, minus 0.01, yield curve controlled, 10 years at 0, and inflation is barely budging. If you're an optimist, it's starting to rise up. You've got the key measure, which is the white line. That's inflation minus fresh food prices. It's up to 0.3% year over year. It's better than being in negative territory. So there has been some pressure. Now, it's true that Governor Kuroda is under pressure to talk about his exit plans. In fact, again, we'll be waiting to hear what he may say about that. In fact, the head of the Japanese Life Insurers Association, talking to Bloomberg News, Toru Fujioka, had a great decision day guide out. He's already got a great story about the decision that was just made if you want to jump on the Bloomberg or jump on Bloomberg.com. But bottom line, people are waiting to hear more. They want to hear more about exit, even if it's broad. And of course, there was discussion before the meeting about, whoa, they're not buying as many bonds. Is that a taper? And earlier today, Takatoshi Ito, who is a professor of economics at Columbia University, he is one of the names at the top of the list, people say, if Governor Kuroda is not reappointed by Prime Minister Abe next year. He said, we shouldn't get confused between tapering and exit because bond purchases have changed for a reason.
Kuroda has repeatedly said that it's too early to talk about exit. But this, what you call tapering, is not an exit. It's slowing down the extra purchase of the bonds. So, you arrive at zero net purchase, then it's going to be a flat balance sheet.
Bottom line, inflation is far from target. True, the economy has improved. Unemployment keeps falling. GDP is growing. If I'm Governor Kuroda, I would certainly be claiming at least a success in that. Maybe not victory yet, but a move in the right direction. But there's lots of critics out there saying sooner or later, the number of bonds being purchased is piled so high. Just the fact that it's so high, and you can't even tell us what your exit's going to look like. Maybe the pressure continues to build. And by the next BOJ meeting, when there's a bigger report out, maybe we'll get more from him then.